Hello, this is J.A. McDonald, and today I have another tutorial for you. So, in response to my bank tutorial hitting 255 views, I am releasing this tutorial. It's another bank tutorial, but the difference is this one does not use command blocks and is completely survival friendly. And it is exactly as secure as the last one was. Possibly even more so. So first, here's a little demonstration. Come into the teller room, close the door behind you, go into the code room, close it behind you. This is just like my previous bank. Room number 3 is 1, 1. Okay then. And my code is 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. And 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. No, is that right? No. There we go. And my door is open. So I can go in here and see that all my diamonds are perfectly safe. Yay! Now, of course, we have these security levers here for keeping everyone out of our business. And if you make the slightest incorrect mistake, the door doesn't open. Naturally, this handles all different rooms. All different room numbers at least, up to 255, and it is expandable from there to just about as many as your server can handle. So, now I suppose it is time to get to that tutorial. And first, one thing, in the tutorial I'll be showing you the absolute minimum width. You don't have to build it that you have to build it that wide, but it doesn't have to be that skinny. For example, in the tutorial, each code selector room is only 3 wide, but here I thought 5 wide and 7 wide just felt better. So feel free to play around with the dimensions, just don't drop below the ones I lay out. Okay, so let's build this thing. To save time, I've already chalked out the basic foundation of the building. So this first room here is the teller room. This can be any dimension you jolly well feel like. It doesn't really matter. For this one, I'm going to do a 3x3 room. The next room is the room initialization code room. And this room will have twice as many levers as it is long. So right now it's 4 long, so that's 8 levers, which will give you 255 rooms to pick from. If you reference the formula on your screen, that is the ratio of the length to the number of rooms you will get. So then, here is your password selector. Same formula applies to this for the number of possible passwords, but this room is 8 long. So it's 16, just plug 16 into that formula. I can't exactly remember what it is. I think it's somewhere around 60,000 combinations. So it should be noted that you can make either of these rooms any size you want, but with the current design, the maximum size you can do is 8. Now, I'm sure there are ways around that. I just haven't bothered to figure it out because I can't possibly see a situation where I'd want more than 8 levers for either place. So more than 8 levers on a side in either of these rooms. So I'm just going to go ahead and build up this building the rest of the way and get back to you in a second. Okay, so I've put in the full room and we have these nice little glass things here to see the tellers through. First, I'm going to show you how to make kind of a little safety deposit box. Or sorry, not safety deposit box. A little teller box so that the teller can pass things back and forth to the customer safely. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to dig 2 down under this wall piece here and put a sticky piston there. Then you're going to want to build a wall out about that far or so and put a lever there. Then under that, just 2 or 3 pieces of redstone like that. So this lever now controls that block. Cover this up with flooring and find your chest. Put it there. Now when it's open, the customer can grab the chest, and when it's not, he can't. And the next thing is you're going to want to put in security doors. Now, what I mean by a security door is if you stand in the door like this and you place an iron door, that iron door will close when it gets power instead of open. So now, if I power it again, nothing changes until all sources of power have been removed. So just put down your security door with a lever on the ceiling like that, so your customer can kind of seal himself in for some privacy. Do the same in this room here. Whoops, wrong way. You want the hinges... No, that was the right way. You want the hinges facing the place excluded for a better feel. Just let me go flip the entrance. There we go. Now, another optional feature is you can make it so the tellers can lock people out of the bank. To do this, just put a lever on that wall there. Or sorry, that wall there. Then under here, run a line of redstone into that block. Now, okay, now if either lever is down, the door will be completely locked. You could also invert that so that either teller can open the door for their customer. And then both levers would have to be down for the door to actually open. But those are all optional features, and they're not really part of the bank. Oops. Just let me open that. So now for the first real part of the bank. Come in here to your room selector and line the wall with levers. Both walls. Now that you have that done, run outside and run around to here and grab out some nice handy redstone torches and line the wall in those. Both sides are identical, so I'm going to do only one wall at a time. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get out whatever block you're using to put redstone on. You can just put it on the ground, but I'm not going to do that. So run your block like that and coat the top here with repeaters or comparators, either one. Comparators are faster, but levers are cheaper. Then run a row of blocks along in front of those repeaters like that, and a row of torches along that wall there. Then, on the ground in front of all of these torches, so it can be powered by any of them, run a line of redstone. Then step that redstone down like this. It's actually rather important that you step it down like this, otherwise it will interfere with our build later. Now run in until you can see this block here, and dig under it. Put a block there with a torch on it so that it powers this block here, and run a line of redstone out to it. Like so. Now, if any of these get turned on, any of the levers inside are on, this security door here, which we haven't put in yet, will be open. You might as well put in your security door now, just to test it. There's a good spot. And to test if a security door actually closes, you have to activate it, or you have to update the block. Okay, so that works. Oh wait, one thing. There. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start a torch ladder coming off these torches. Like so. And on this next row here, you'll have the exact same thing. But on the next row, start dropping one torch off the end. But put a block over it anyway. So like that. From now on, drop one torch off every row. Like so. Now what you're going to want to do is, aiming at that torch, place a block, a block, a block, and a block. Run them out until they're right next to the center of the hallway, and then forward quite a ways. Coat these with redstone. So right now, every other line is on, and you can leave it like that, but it's easier if you just invert it right now and don't have to deal with it. So if the line is on, take out the first piece of redstone and place a redstone torch on the side of the top block. Like that. Now the lines will directly be what the torch is. So punch out this bottom torch here so that this line turns on, and take this whole line out until it turns off. At that point, you're going to want to put a repeater and run all the lines out to that point and put a repeater in the same spot. It makes it much, much easier to keep track of which is which this way. And there you have it. Now just remember to replace your torch back here and do this exact same thing on the other side. And there you have two symmetrical halves. Now it's time to start working on your combination lock room. Once again, you're going to want a security door in the end here, a torch on the previous security door, or a lever on the previous security door, line the wall with levers, and then go outside. This setup is almost completely identical to the setup of the room selector until you get to the part where you run the carrying lines. So do your same little trip bar here of redstone. Now this is why you had to do the funky little turn on the redstone earlier, is otherwise this line would power the previous door as well, and we don't want that. Now on this side out here, there's no funny way you have to go down, so just go down however you feel like. Bearing in mind that you want to get the line over there eventually. And there you have it. Just verify that that works by breaking out this initial torch. And the door clicked, so it works. Now is where this build starts getting different from the other side. And you're actually going to want to start sketching out the design of your rooms right now. So you're going to want to come out one more block away from your door before you actually start the first room. So I'm just going to put in a solid wall here. Like that. Now your first room, this is the wall of your first room, I do believe. No, yes, this is the wall of the first room. So the minimum dimensions of a room are 5 long. There is no minimum width dimension, so I'm going to use 3 because I like 3 as a width for this. You can use any width you want. There is no real maximum width you can have. You'll just have to get a bit creative with some of the circuits I'll show you later. Possibly. Now I'm going to put the floor in these 2. And the central hallway flooring. Just give me a second. So one thing I forgot to mention is that you should punch through the spot below the door. And 2 below it, put a block. It'll be much, much easier to do this now than later. So, now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to count out 5 from your back wall. So 4 blocks and then a 5th. That 5th block is going to be the lines of redstone. This first line will skim right on the ground like that. And to get power to it, just go over here to this redstone torch and put a repeater like that. That will get the proper signal while making sure that it doesn't get the signal from this line down there. For the second one, to get the signal to it, just put a block right on top of that torch there and run it out to here. Once again, this will give you the exact right length of signal. Or the exact right signal. For all the rest of them, you have to do a torch tower again. So, but this tower is a bit different than previously because you don't put on the extra block over dropped torches. And the first dropped torch is the very first torch. Or actually, the second row you start dropping torches. So yeah, same as the first one, but just don't put the extra block over the dropped torches. And you actually go in reverse this time. And there's the torch tower. Now just run a line off the block holding the last torch in each. Like that. And you'll be able to get your lines. Coat in redstone. And repeat. Now again, some of the lines are on and we don't want any of them to be on. But this time, the easiest way to put in a repeater, an inverter, is to actually physically put in an inverter rather than to do anything with the existing torch ladder. Oops, not on top, on the side. So there you go, now all of them are correctly powered. This time though, to gauge our max length, you're going to want to depower the bottom rail because it is the longest. It's barely the longest, but I think it's still the longest. You might want to verify that the first one is the longest because you want all your signals to repeat at the same place. It can be early but it can't be late. So, yeah. So as it turns out, the second one is actually the shortest. So just put your repeater on the second row instead of the first row. I apologize for that. This is the first time I've built it getting the power for the second rail from that particular place. There are other places to get that power from, and I just hadn't thought of it until recently. And there you have this side. Now put your torch back on your wall and build the other side. Okay. So there we have an identical side to the first one, and I've also extended out each of the rails of power to the end of the room, built up the roofs on the room, and put in their security doors, just because those will be much more useful later. Ah man, the door's locked. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to verify on the room selector which one of these levers you want to be the first one. Now, for me, number 1 will be right here, and I'm going to go ahead and label these with signs, so it's a lot easier to keep track of. So these are in binary. If you don't understand binary, there's a bunch of good tutorials for that. So this is going to be the 1 spot, this is going to be the 10 spot, this is going to be the 100 spot, not the quandered spot, the 100 spot, and this is going to be the 1000 spot. And on this wall over here, we're going to have the 10,000 spot, the 100,000 spot, the 1 million slot, and the 10 million slot. So just go ahead and flip the 1 lever down there and check and see which one of these rails is on. The top one is on. So the top number will be our 1 slot. That'll be important later when we go to set each individual room's combination. But we're not going to do that just yet. Right now, we are going to put in the piece of redstone that makes this all possible. You're going to need a bunch of these, so just remember how to build these. Take a pillar and build it up like that. Those are all temporary blocks. On the side of that, you're going to want to put a half slab so that this block is one above the half slab. And you can remove all these temp blocks. Put a solid block here. It can be another half slab, but it's much easier not to. And then another half slab. And you're going to want another temporary tower here. And put half slabs in the spaces that you don't currently have half slabs. Like that. 1 over, like that. Okay. So now coat everything here in redstone. Oh boy, let me just take care of this one here. There. They must all be top slabs. So coat everything here in redstone except the first spot on each. We'll come back to that in a minute. This should be right here. The wall of the cell is right here. 1, 2, middle, 1, 2. Should be right here. Then build another one of these things over here on the code lock wall. Now there is one difference between these two. On this bottom platform, you're going to want to put a full block here instead of a half slab. Then aim a repeater into that block like that. Now come up here to the very top level of this one and put, whoa, a half slab there and like that. This way it'll connect into this entire grid. Now, you're going to want to be 3 above this with a final rod, like that. Bring that all the way over to here. You can start working in solid blocks now. You're probably going to want a repeater there because the signal is rather weak by the time it's got all the way up here. Sorry. It's the 3rd row above. Like that. And then do the same for the other side over here. Okay. Now that you've done that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to verify that if you put power in at the first block at the bottom of any of these pieces, it will reach the top bar. Now they should, if you built it correctly, and might even if you built it incorrectly, but it's just good to test it now, just in case. So all of those are built correctly. Now what you're going to want to do is come up here, and you have to make a decision on which way this power bar is going. This is going to be my first room, so I think room number 1 is going to be on the left today. So put down a step above the rail on whatever side you want to be on, in this case left, and step down to the very center of your room, and then 1 over from the power rail. Run redstone line down that, and verify that a power from this side reaches all the way to the bottom. Now, put a torch on here, drop down, redstone, torch, drop down, redstone, torch, repeat until the very bottom. Or actually, repeat until you run into this here. There we are. And keep going till the bottom. So it was repeat till bottom. Okay. Now that you're here, take the signal and run it under here. Look for the block you placed earlier. There it is. Then run your redstone connection all the way out to there. And the door should be open because the conditions for it to be open are currently being met. So verify that your door is open. If it's not, invert the bottom piece. Now that you have that, you're going to want to do this again on the other side of the box here. This will control the room on the other side of the hallway, so this little redstone spiral will come down over the other side of your hallway's chain. Now these are just the room numbers. The room code cards follow the same rule, but it's not so urgent that you get them right now because they're individually set for each customer, or can be at least. What else you're going to want to do before you clone this over is you're going to want to run 2 columns next to the next to a code lock, one next to each of them. And you're going to want to line these columns with ladders so that these can be easily changed in the future. There. So now that you've done that, there's a couple other accessibility things you're going to want to do. First is you're going to want to take a section of the rail and drop it down one so you can walk through it. Now this can't be the one immediately before or immediately after the repeater. So if you have to adjust it a little, go right ahead. It won't really matter too much. I prefer it to be in the exact center, but if it's not, no big problem. You're additionally going to want to do that to these rails here, depending on whether you want to have edge access or center access or both. You're also going to want to put a small platform out to here and a half slab there to not trigger that torch. And then a couple more blocks so you can get out to your ladders from the center. Just do that for both sides. And then you can safely clone this thing if you have clone commands. If you don't have clone commands, I'm sorry. You're going to have to be doing this over and over and over again. So there you have that. Now I'm going to clone this thing out 16 times. After you clone it, you're going to want to mess with these repeaters because there might not be enough or there might be too many. I'm not going to bother messing with them because I'm not going for an optimized version here. I'm just going for one that works. Go ahead and do whatever you feel like in this for this. So to clone this, find two corners on it, target them and hit tab to fill in their coordinates, and then come down and do the second one, and then go down into your mine shaft here, or your code shaft, I suppose you could call it, and get the very bottom thing down here and fill it in for this height. Then find the northwest corner of where the next one's going to be. For me, it's conveniently right here. And target that and press tab. Change the height to the lowest height you're cloning from and hit enter. Naturally, I messed it up a little bit. So let me fix this really quick here. Why is this messed up? And there you go. Now it's in the right spot. I was off by 1 on my coordinates. And go ahead and get rid of anything else out here that is extra. And then for the rapid cloning of extra rooms, you're going to want to fill in a tilde for the coordinate that is your Y value and just kind of walk along. Or not, okay, sorry. Let me finish here. Okay, put in a coordinate, your coordinate, the tilde, for the sideways shifting one. And then just repeat this repeatedly. There should be 5 gaps between doors. Let's see, how many is that? That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I'll just do a couple more. 12, 14, 16. So if yours didn't happen to have a northwest corner in a nice spot, good luck to you figuring out exactly where to put it. But if you try to clone it over itself, it won't let you because it says that you can't clone over your source. So don't worry about it too much for the first one, but after that you won't have that protection. So now this should be the 16th room here. And the code for 16 is everything off except the very first one. So this is the only row on this side you're actually going to have to change. Like that. Now for these. As I showed you earlier with that binary table, these top ones alternate on and off. So you can just do that. I am actually doing this backwards. It's supposed to alternate torch first because you want these off. Oh wait. So I just realized something. Yeah, okay. So what I've accidentally done in this situation is we wanted repeaters where all of these torches are. So what I'm gonna do for the rest of mine is invert the build so that down is on. So just let me run over here and flip all of these to the on position. There we go. So you can have these in either position as you just saw, but you'll have to... Oh, never mind. This isn't gonna work. Okay, so I've royally messed up here and I've made myself a lot more work. Because now I have to go back and I have to swap out all of those torches for repeaters. So if I made you do that, I am terribly sorry. But I'm not sorry enough to do it legitimately. So I'm just going to use a fill command. Might want to note this fill command. Fill coordinates of the first torch. Coordinates of the last torch. So run this command and it should fix it for you. Now you might need to play with this variable a little and to get them to orient the right way. Unpowered repeater. Oh, now they're all facing backwards. And there we go. No harm done. Replace this top one with a torch. And you should be golden. Now back over here. We'll start doing the correct sequence. So this is on, so we want a torch, torch, torch. Right, okay. So every one of these will have a torch on it, and then every other one will have a repeater on it. And there we go. Then repeater. Wait a second. Well, I'm just going to fill in this and then, yeah, figure out if anything's wrong with it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, I see what I've done. Nothing, no, there's no problem. I'll just, edit all this out. No, I won't. Right. So now the second row is going to want every other one a torch, and every other one a repeater. Where's the first one? There it is. Well, to start off with, this first one is completely repeaters. And this next one is a torch. a torch, repeater, repeater, torch, torch, repeater, repeater, whoa, wrong way, repeater, like that, repeat to the end, and then start working on the next row and then the next row.